Good evening, everybody. Today is going to be a change of pace. We're going to be celebrating International Women's Day here at the celebrating it at the Cave. Such a cute little kitty. All right, so let's get this show started. This is probably going to be really good. We'll see what happens.
All right, y'all, it is International Women's Day 2023, so we are here at UT Austin to ask the ladies what it means to be a woman in the modern day, and also if they would feel comfortable sharing their spaces with trans women. Let's go find out. What is it like being a woman in modern day America for you?
There definitely is some setbacks and challenges, especially I'm queer, and so I have some just problems with that, in a religious standpoint.
There's still a lot of struggles that women have to go through just for the way that they were born, especially if you take into account trans femme people and stuff like that. So I'm actually just
So that we have a clear understanding, she's reading off of cue cards that were planted by the people who put this idea in people's heads. These young ladies have absolutely no idea what the hell they're talking about. Just like most young people, and unfortunately it's affecting almost everyone now, Western society is a cancer. Mind you, this is International Women's Day.
Working on a project right now. I'm an RTF major, and we actually just made a short film about women's experiences,
And all the love in the world to anyone that is in the creative arts. I like anyone who does movies, even if they're silly.
existing in the world. It's called You Should Smile More, and we actually did a whole bit about how it is to just exist around just the kind of entitlement of men and how they make people feel uncomfortable and just in everyday situations and how that affects women in their day-to-day lives.
What are some of those things that men do that make women feel uncomfortable?
Well, for example, in the film, the title of the film is You Should Smile More. Just these kind of offhanded, sort of backhanded compliments almost.
So, what's the big deal? You should smile more. You can just say no thank you and walk off. You don't have to make it a Chernobyl or something.
Almost where it's inherently threatening and telling them you're only valuable because you're pretty. And
yeah, you know who doesn't really complain about how pretty they are or a lack of? Pretty women. Never hear them talk about it. The same way you never hear pretty women complain about passport bros. See where I'm going with this? Like I said, they all have the same look. Everyone that complains about something, they all have the same look.
And they kind of the tone that they use in certain situations.
I actually identify as non-binary, but I have still identify as a mostly feminine person.
You're gender fluid. Talk to us about...
Yep, here we go. International Women's Day and a dude.
I guess the modern day version of what being a woman is.
People should be really offended. Let me rephrase that. Women should be offended by this. Letting people into your tribe, pretending to be what you are, which you've earned the right to be, and here you are. You're allowing anybody to join that group.
I don't know. I mean, I'm only realized some more gender stuff about myself recently, in the past few months or so, because before then I identified as a man most of my life, so I'm still trying to figure things out.
So what are your pronouns? Talk to us a little bit about your gender identity.
Pronouns, I guess right now I'm kind of vague about, because I'm not out to literally everyone in existence, just kind of certain social spheres. But I guess,
And, it goes back to the whole thing of choosing what you want to be. That's not how life is. It's not like a career choice. You were born this way. Yes, there are some people that feel like they're gay or lesbian, but my problem is this whole flipping back and forth like it's college. You didn't want to do this, you didn't want to do that, now you want to do this, and you end up spending thousands of dollars switching majors.
any at this point.
Any gender? So
Yeah.
like they, them, she, her,
Yeah, I'm fine
it,
with
he,
whatever.
him.
Yeah,
You go with anything?
yeah, I go with anything.
So gender and sexuality is something that has been brought to the forefront a lot for Women's History Month,
Definitely.
International Women's Day. Some women saying that trans women shouldn't be platformed because they're really biological men, especially for Women's History Month. What is your viewpoint on that in the modern day?
I think trans women are women because biological gender is different, or sorry, biological sex is different from gender. So however you choose to present yourself, you are a woman. If you don't even have to have like any sort of gender affirmation surgery.
I think if any
Mind you, she has no idea what she's talking about. She's just regurgitating what she hears already. So that she just says exactly what they tell her to say, and she repeats it because she has to be a good little girl. When is this madness going to end?
one wants to be a woman, they can. I think just because a trans woman is a woman, and I do think we should platform that. They are women.
It's interesting.
Now, I think everyone should be allowed to speak their mind about anything. It doesn't matter what the situation is, even if I like it or not, if they're racist or not, sexist or not, then you know who these people are. I don't think we should take away a platform. I think we should allow them to say what they want, but regulate it in a way that makes sense. Now you know who the people are because they're in plain sight. Then you take all that stuff away from them. Now you don't know who they are, and they hide in plain sight with everyone else, pretending to be who they're not.
With like biological men going into like becoming a biological woman, and people have an issue with that because at the end of the day they're a woman, like you've become a woman, so now you are in that camp. So I could see why someone might have like issues like, oh, that's not a real woman, but I think that's kind of them not being able to accept the fact that that person has made that choice to become a woman.
Until they go to the bathroom with your sister or your daughter. We don't care about the boys, so we're just going to go in this direction. When it's your sister and daughter and there's some dude who's about 300 pounds walks in there and get in the locker room, trust me, a lot of you are going to put that whole social justice nonsense out the window and talk about how, oh, no, that's not going to happen. People like talking out of both sides of their mouths. Let's keep it real.
Do you guys view trans women and biological women the same?
Yes and no.
Yes and no. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like yes. It's like a yes.
Can you guys have a thought of your own? He waited like a woman. He waited to see what the other person was going to say, and then they all said the same thing to find the safe one. So if enough people say it, then you don't feel just as bad for saying it.
That's a trick question, but it's like
It's not a trick question. You're just making it one.
a great question
really
for
isn't.
conversation.
It's not.
Well, I mean, I think like the fact that like it's not just it's trans women and biological women kind of already inherently is saying they're different. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like if it's like do you view a woman as the same? Even if that question, the answer would be no, because all women are different. Like Rihanna and Beyonce different. Same way like Caitlyn Jenner and like
Do you think
and
Beyonce and Caitlyn Jenner are similar? Like, would you put them on? Yeah, like.
It's like, do you view a woman as the same? Even if that question, the answer would be no, because all women are different. Like Rihanna and Beyonce different.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure I heard that correctly. See, this is why I say this generation is lost, and they need to get hit by a comet real quick. If I get hit with it, hey, you know what? The pain stops. Two different biological women is completely different than Rihanna and Caitlyn Jenner.
Same way, like Caitlyn Jenner and like
Do you think
and
Beyonce and Caitlyn Jenner are similar? Like, would you put them on? Yeah, like.
Yeah, they're both women.
In the place of the arts, it's like there's really no room.
I wonder, did I sound like an idiot like these kids were when I was young? Probably, but not to this degree.
For judgment, because like we do like animal work, like we'll crawl on the ground like dogs or like squirrels, and then that like being a squirrel, you can like transition to like being like this like sort of crackhead where you have like this like tick, and it's like I know I'm getting there, but it's
Getting where? What the hell are you talking about?
like you're laughing at that, but it's like we have no room to judge because then like some of the best actors out there doing like Robin Williams and Mrs. Doubtfire.
So would you say that a man transitioning to being a woman is the same as an actor pretending to be a squirrel?
See, that's just a crazy ass question.
You said you were getting it.
It's only crazy because you have absolutely no idea how to think for yourself. And yes, there's a complete difference between the. Usually I have something to say and it's kind of funny, but it's just sad. It's scary.
What I'm getting at is like not the embarrassment, the judgment
No, you were right. The embarrassment
on other people of like, that's what I do. Now, you might not necessarily do squirrel work, but I'll do it because that furthers like my life and my career and everything. And if, transitioning furthers somebody else's life in the way that they want to, then like, that's just what they got to do,
Do you view biological women and trans women the same way?
Oh, no. Yes and no. I think they should be labeled the same, but I think people should acknowledge that trans women and cis women have different experiences.
I think if that's what they
Well, at least I give this one a little bit of credit.
identify as, then today is a day for them.
Do you think that we should be focused in more on transgender women's voices now in the modern day society and, trying to uplift them more than, let's say, other groups of women in the space? What are your thoughts?
Yes, in a way, because they do go through more.
And it's nice to get validated in your identity and stuff.
Trans women are, oppressed and stuff. I think they deserve, I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Voice. They deserve
Yes, clearly, none of you know what you want to say.
to have the right to identify the way that they see themselves as.
I think trans women of color should be uplifted the most just because they have the most oppression facing them.
And talk to me too a little bit about that.
Where? Where is this oppression? Can you show me data? Can you show me videos? Can you show me anything? Trans of color. God. I can't believe I did this video.
What are some of those oppressive things that they're facing?
It could just be like small, everyday microaggressions or even...
Stop saying microaggression. You don't even know what that means. What are things that are holding trans of color back?
As far as someone going and assaulting them on the street.
And it's all intersectionality, so they deal with just more than one thing. They're a trans woman, they might be a person of color, they might be part of the LGBTQ plus community, a lot of things.
So that we have a clear understanding, they labeled everything that the left pushes. So we know what type of school this is.
Overlap, and it's hard to, a lot of things affect them. It's not just one thing.
I guess assigned female at birth person, you just generally have a lot more hardships just from like the way you were born. But I do think like trans femme people, it's kind of dangerous to be a trans femme person. It always has been. There's a lot of violence that trans femme people, trans women like specifically face.
I hate the way that the United States and law and policy are so focused on changing or just bothering the trans community. And I feel like that should be, it should obviously be a part of law in terms of giving them the freedom that they want. But other than that, I feel like that should not be.
In 2023, what laws does a trans person not have? Honest question. What do they not have what do they have that's a law that says that they can't do something? In 2023, 2022, 21, 20, 19, 18.
A subject to talk about unless you are a part of the community or it has something to do with you, because you don't truly know how it feels to be trans. Unless you're supporting, then I feel like...
But a trans woman knows what it's like to be a woman. That's why they can qualify themselves as a woman, right? And what was that guy's name who transitioned and said that she was getting period cramps? We definitely live in a clown world.
Like it should not be talked about.
So I think one of the reasons why it is because, like, for women's sports, for example, right, we do have some people like Leah Thomas, who is a biological male, that went and swam with the women, obviously took first place. Leah Thomas, broader shoulders, was just bigger in general. So in terms of women's, sports, or even sometimes women's locker rooms, like young girls are being exposed to trans women who still have male genitalia. So these are kind of little kids that are seeing that. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
That's a good question. When it comes to the locker room, I feel like if these people if the trans community, if they feel like they are the opposite sex, like a female or a male, then they should be able to go into the locker room or whatnot because they truly feel like they are female. So 9 times out of 10, I can't speak for everyone, but they're not trying to mess with the opposite sex if they feel like they are that sex. Like if they're a female going into a female locker room, then they're not going to want to mess with the females. Because
many moons ago, when all this nonsense started coming around, somewhere around the Obama administration era, I had an ex who, for some reason, I don't know why, she was borderline to like being a feminist. And she pulled that nonsense about men being able to use the women's locker room if they feel like they're a woman. I says, that's stupid. They're men. They should be using the men's locker room. It says, no, but if they identify who are you to judge, it was at that moment that she realized she effed up. So we went to the gym. There's a Planet Fitness. Clearly, I don't go there anymore. And I decided to go to the females' locker room. A few women got upset about this, but I immediately told them, ma'am, no, I'm sorry. No, it's okay. I identify as a woman. Don't worry about it. And I continued getting dressed. Some women left. Some women didn't care. They said, oh, okay. I can't believe they actually did. And then the other ones went to go get the manager. In the process of getting the manager, he went in there. He was just like, sir, you can't come and cannot get dressed in the women's locker room. So I went into full acting mode. Threw my bag down. I said, did you just assume my identity? Did you just assume that I am a man? And the look in his face, he was like, no, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that because I'm a woman. I have the same rights as every woman in this locker room. And it was at that point he says, I'm sorry, ma'am. I didn't mean to offend you. Please, I will give you your space. I don't want to invade your privacy. And the best part about the whole thing was the look on my ex's face, so angry and pissed off as I smiled the entire time getting dressed and getting my gym clothes on. Normally I go with my gym clothes on. Today was the day I was going to get undressed. Do you understand how stupid that sounds? If they feel like they're a woman, they have no intentions of doing anything to other women. Scout's honor. Oh my God.
as they now are female. But
even if they still have a penis, though, like, do you think that, again, exposing a child to male genitalia just because that person feels female is a good thing for society?
Well, I feel like you're not really you're not going to expose your genitalia in a locker room. I know for me, you just get changed and stuff. So,
do you want these people leading you? I sure don't.
So in terms of like exposing yourself in a locker room, I feel like that is not an issue.
You know, I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to be like, hey, you know what? Guess what? I'm going to go to the locker room. Oh, don't worry about it. I'm not going to expose myself to you.
But if people are afraid that the trans person is going to mess with the female in the locker room, that's why I'm saying I feel like it's not an issue either, because if they identify as female, then they're not going to try to mess with these females.
Really, anyone can be dangerous.
But do you think little kids should be seeing this type of thing?
I mean, well, kids shouldn't be seeing genitalia in general. I think... I mean, if a woman, like, goes into a bathroom and is, like, showing off their, like, genitals or whatever, that's just, like, a sexual predator. Like, they just need to be in jail.
For example, in my gym, women will walk around and they'll get naked changing because, you know, we're all biologically the same there. So that's kind of the situation that some people are in. There are children there. But I guess, like I said, in the instance of it being a trans female, like, what are your thoughts on, I guess, children seeing that?
I mean, I don't know. I think it's... That is
hard.
An interesting thing to think about. I just think, like, I don't know.
This is scary. These people are all agreeing to something, and they have absolutely no idea how to defend it in an argument.
It is, like, kind of a weird situation. I do think for the safety of, like, a lot of trans people, there should be a lot more gender, like, neutral spaces.
Right. So more options would probably be the answer.
Yeah, I think so, because it really is, like, especially if you're thinking of, like, a trans woman, if they go into, like, the men's locker room, they're, like, a target for, like, harassment and violence. But if they go into a women's, like, locker room, a lot of women are uncomfortable and that's just like the reality of it.
Yeah, that's bullshit. Trans women are women just like I'm a woman. I'm a cisgender woman, but just as much as I'm a woman, so are trans women, so they deserve every right that I have.
I don't even care. I don't notice anything. I don't see it as a problem, and I think that if they're comfortable being women.
This is exactly why more men should be leaders and not women. Men will see a problem and know that this isn't supposed to be right. Women will follow and say, oh, this seems right, until something bad happens. And then you want to question everyone else.
Bathroom, they go to the women's bathroom.
Because they are women.
Yeah.
What would you say to the parents who think, like, oh, I don't want my daughter around a trans woman in a bathroom? Like, what are your thoughts on that type of mentality in the modern day?
I feel like they're not as educated as well. When parents usually say that, it's really coming from like an ignorant place because they're not understanding that they are women.
So it's an ignorant place or a parent place? You know, like a protector place. Sweetheart, you look like you're 12, and I'm going to give you a little bit of advice. Your parents raised you, not the school. The school will tell you all the dumb things to say. A doctor, if you call your doctor, yes, he is the highest level of care you can go to. But a doctor will not take a chance, and you phone calling him and saying you have these symptoms and say, I'm sure it's this, go home. No, he's going to tell you to call 911 because he doesn't want that responsibility of saying that you sent someone home and it may have been an MI. Your parents here are here to help you. They guide you. It's not ignorance, not all the time at least. It is really more so parents that want to make sure that their kids are safe, and you have no idea what you're talking about.
I know they might have been born a male or whatever, but they are women. If they identify as a woman, they are a woman. And I get like they don't want like something bad to happen in the bathroom because their genitalia might not. Sex and gender are two different things. So.
Yes, but grape is always going to be the same way no matter what sex you are. Stop saying that. They regurgitate the same things. They don't know what they're talking about. They just say the same things and they call everyone else uneducated. Today you learned this. Tomorrow will be something else. Tomorrow will be something else. And then you're going to feel like you're smarter than everyone else because you just learned this one new thing. You have no idea what you're talking about.
Their sex and gender might not match, but...
You know that a woman can grape a boy, right? Even though their genitalia isn't the same. And even if it does match, it's still a grape. No matter what happens, if a person wants to do something, it's still considered grape. Can we understand this? Can we stop with this whole two different things? It doesn't stop a human being from doing something.
I think it's just ignorance, yeah.
I agree with what she's saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, they're all parrots. They just repeat the same thing. Blah, blah, blah. I think it's the gender. Yeah, yep, it's that. Yep.
I would absolutely be okay sharing a space with trans women.
Until someone like me walks in there. Which I'm going to do one day, again.
And the fact that parents think that is kind of awful.
I'm totally for uplifting trans women. I think trans women are women, and I think we have a lot more things to worry about than trans women coming into the bathroom.
I don't see really a problem.
I think, honestly, men are the problem in that point because I don't think if there is a large majority of people being predatory in women's restrooms, it is men. It is not people who identify as female.
Yes, it's always the man's fault. It's always the man's fault for everything happening.
With male genitalia.
I definitely think trans women should be included in women's spaces. I mean, they're women, obviously, so they face a lot of the same issues that cis women do as well in terms of like misogyny.
Would you say that you would be equal to me then if...
Misogyny, huh? So there's a group of men being misogynist towards trans men. I'm sorry, trans women. Okay, cool.
You decided to be a woman, then would we be the same?
Well, what do you mean? What do you mean by the same?
Like, if a man decided to identify as a woman, at that point, does he then become a woman? Like, what are your thoughts on how that works?
I mean, well, it's complicated because this is like a social phenomenon, right?
It's not. It's just a bunch of idiots that just took a talking point and ran with it. The government told you this was the fact and you went with it. You stupid people are all going to college paying thousands of dollars to learn about this nonsense, and you think that you've accomplished goals by agreeing with stupidity. This cat right here on the screen has more common sense than every last one of you.
Because there's presenting as a woman, there's people interpreting you as a woman, there's also what you feel like internally, whether you feel like.
And let's not forget that the government also invented this policy called feelings. It's no longer facts or evidence. It's all about how you feel something makes you.
A woman or not, they're all kind of intermingled and different. That's very complex. I think in terms of like identity, if they identify as a woman, then yeah, that's it. They're just a woman, right? So in terms of being the same, I mean, like while they're still women, they
Do you think that that's trans?
All right, that's enough of that. I can't take any more of this. Oh God, it's just so sad. This Western world is going to hell, and it's taking everyone with it. If you are not part of that world, get out while you can and build a wall and keep all those Western people and their ideology out of your country, because they will tear you down limb for limb. This world's going to hell. The most simplest question has now become a phenomenon. Anyway, well, that's it for today. Thank you for joining International Women's Day. See if we can get any more videos of it. No, I'm not doing this again. Good night, everybody.